but growing up with this child saw the constant issues that they had, cheating left, right, and center, left, right, and center, violence every now and then. Watching some story, a househelp was narrating an encounter that happened whereby a man decided to stab his wife to death. So hello guys, welcome to the channel. Call me Jay. So have you ever wondered why people nowadays don't want to be in serious relationships, just want to have fun and just move on with life? So this mostly affects the Gen Zs and Millennials. So we wanna talk about why commitment scares Millennials and Gen Zs, because they love the aspect of love, but the idea of commitment does not really matter to them. So we really wanna get to understand their psychology, the reasons why they don't want to commit in relationships. So one of the reasons as to why millennials and Gen Zs don't want to commit in relationships because of past traumas and divorce, whereby you find that as they were growing up, they witnessed so much happening with their parents. They saw a lot of violence. They saw parents exchanging fists. They saw one partner going for a knife, nearly, for example, stabbing the other, or even stabbing the other. Like, okay, before I get to narrate that story, so they have witnessed violence, they have witnessed cheating scandals, so they have seen how broken people can be in marriages. So then really they feel like it's not worthy for them to commit to a relationship. Like yesterday, I was watching some story. A house help was narrating an encounter that happened whereby a man decided to stab his wife to death, and there was also a child. So this man, after stabbing the wife to death, this man also wanted to kill the child. So he went on the balcony with the child. So he wanted to drop the child from the balcony and kill the child, and also like kill himself because he had opened the, how do you call it? He had he left the gas open by that time, so it nearly caused fire. So it's just that the house help at that time was at least conscious, though she was also injured in the process, but she quickly went and saved the baby. So you'll find that I really don't know how old the child uh, is, but you realize that once a child like this gets to know that this happened, then they'll be like, there's no point in committing to a marriage because they don't have something to look up to. So that is one of the big reasons. And some people would be like, no, marriage is work. But you see, somebody like this has seen And you also, I'd also say, likes of baby boomers and other past generations, will be like marriages works and all that. But you see, communication is 15% verbal and 85% visual. So, a parent, let's say a couple, could be advising, for example, their child to marry. But growing up, this child saw the constant issues that they had, cheating left, right, and center, left, right, and center, violence every now and then. So you'll find that at the end of the day, they see there's no point in committing to a relationship. So past trauma and divorce, after divorce, when a divorce happens, children are usually tormented so much because uh, parents part ways, and a child needs both the father and the mother. So you find that when they part ways, either they have to choose sides. They have to, for example, choose whether they'll stay with the father or the mother, or even sometimes things become so bad in a way that they're just left there maybe to live with the, let's say, their aunties or grandmas and so on. So at the end of the day, they don't find a reason as to why they should commit to a relationship. So that is one key thing. I don't know, what do you have to say?
Maybe to add what you've said
Mm-hmm.
about childhood trauma, this doesn't really have to affect your kid directly. It depends also on the environment, the kind of neighbors you're having around and all that. So if maybe your friends are in an abusive relationship, maybe they come to your place for help in the middle of the night, your kids are overhearing what you're talking about, it will literally affect them in the near future. And if the neighbors also fight and your kids at some point tend to see or maybe overhear, it will also affect them. So as parents, I think we should at least make sure it doesn't affect our kids, because once a kid gets trauma, it's done.
Okay. Yeah, so that is one thing that is very interesting. So the second issue is change of values. So back then, um, you know, other generations used to perceive marriage as a form of, okay, not necessarily companionship in that way, a source of, let's say, continuity of generations, um, you know, coming together to, bring families together, yeah, to widen, the relationships and so on. But with the current generations, we have change of values. For example, millennials and Gen Zs value things like career growth. You know, you'll find that, for example, some men back in the days, once they get to marry, they tell their wives to quit their jobs and become homestay wives or moms. So you'll find that some women may not be okay with the idea of quitting their jobs. They want to have to hold the high places in various institutions. So you find that at the end of the day, they're like, why should I commit to maybe a relationship whereby I'll be forced to quit my job, and lose my career growth. They want to be free, whereby they can easily travel and nobody will question them. They can be in one country today, in another country tomorrow. They also value personal growth. So you may find sometimes they see that getting um, married or being in marriage may limit all that I've talked about. Do you want to say something?
Maybe just a question to you. Could you tell your wife to maybe resign and become a housewife?
No, that has to come from her.
Okay.
Yeah. One, it comes from her. Then it also depends with the financial status.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's something called this the aspect of financial security and financial a state whereby you're sure that even if your wife goes home and let's say you're having some, I mean, it means that your source of income will never run dry because sometimes life happens. Sometimes you can find that maybe something happens, maybe the man gets retrenched, he loses his job, and so on. So if at all the wife was not working, then things become so bad.
Okay.
Yeah, so it depends on it's an issue that varies from one person to another.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe something closer to that. There is also the fear of losing your freedom, whereby maybe growing up after school you used to be at your own place, maybe not at your place but at home. But again, it was you are maybe the firstborn. You're not used to people controlling what you do, what you say, places you go, and all that. So being in a relationship or a marriage, definitely your husband or your wife will be concerned, and every time they call, the obvious question will always remain constant. Where are you and what are you doing? So sometimes it pisses people off. I mean, I don't have to explain myself about my whereabouts. Yeah, so people prefer not to.
Yeah. So they prefer not to go ahead and
To be in a relationship.
yeah, to commit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Another issue that is coming up is choice overload. Like for example, right now we have issues like dating apps. So you'd find people would be like, for example, men will be like, what do I need maybe from a woman? For example, if you need sex, you'd be like, there's no point. If all I need is sex from a woman, there's no point of me being in a committed relationship. They can decide to just get into some hooking into some app, for example, a dating app or so on. Then they can look for a hookup partner, for example. If it's a woman, if maybe she needs attention and so on, we have other alternatives. Yeah. So there is a lot that they can get that is usually offered in marriage or in committed relationships.
Yeah. So once you, let me call it, when you settle, you find yourself finding better options. So I don't know if there is something like that, but I think it exists.
Or better in the sense that I wish I could have found somebody better.
I found this before
Oh, okay.
my wife.
Yeah.
I wish I could date this person before my wife. Maybe just in your circle, you start seeing better people than what you have maybe in your house. So you tend to convince yourself that what you have is a wrong choice. Yeah, so you tend to regret.
Okay. Okay, that's a good idea. So, just as I said, humans are just humans. So sometimes you be like, and that point is very realistic in the sense that you don't get to meet, if you're a man, you don't get to meet all the women then choose the best. You, at the end of the day, you just pick the one that you may come across. Then all of a sudden maybe life happens, then you meet somebody much better and be like, so you'd find some people like, let me first keep waiting, maybe I can find somebody better than the one I have currently. So I totally agree with you. So there's also another issue of financial instability. Finances are very important. It's a very important aspect, and this majorly affects men. In this day and age, we have the issue of one. We have things like AI coming into place. So there's some people who are losing jobs. We have also, realistically speaking, the population is usually it's always growing, but the number of opportunities are not proportional. So you find that at the end of the day, people are constantly, the population is growing, industrialization is not taking place so rapidly. Year in, year out, we get graduates, but you find that there are no jobs that can be able to fit the number of graduates in the society, and it's an issue of demand and supply. So you'll find that because of a large pool of graduates, you'll find that the jobs that are available are paying peanuts, because employers are like, you're so many, if you job, we can replace you. We are not begging you to be here, so we are giving you this peanuts, and if you don't want to walk away, somebody else will take the job. So you find that at the end of the day, especially men suffer this, because in most relationships, they are viewed as the providers. Some women want 100% provision from the man. So if at all the man is living hand to mouth, then he may not be in a position to get up for the family. If he's living by himself, the man alone is living from paycheck to paycheck, then he does not have surplus for a family or for a committed relationship. Yeah, so that becomes a challenge. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, just a different point, but closer to that. The societal expectations. This way, by as a man, the society expects you to be the provider. I mean, you grow up knowing I'm a man, I'm a boy, so I'll be in charge of my family and the responsibilities. So maybe when your kids are sick and you don't take them to the hospital, the society will be like, you're not responsible. Or maybe if you're baby daddy, your baby mama keeps calling you to remind you on the responsibilities. And if you're not committed to them, it might bring issues. Yeah, and maybe when it comes to school issues, you're again the one to pay school fees and rent and all that. So it becomes pressure on a man. So most men will just back off. Yeah, to maybe to escape the pressure from the society. Yeah.
Okay, well said. So there's also the aspect of fear of losing independence. Nowadays, the girl child has really been empowered. So we have some women who be like, I can't afford to lose my independence. I can't afford to lose my job. I cannot afford to lose my individuality. I cannot afford to, lose the time I spend with my girls. And some men will be like, I can also not afford to lose the time I spend with my boys and so on. So there's the aspect of independence. Once you are in a committed relationship, it's no longer me, it is us. Yeah, so also in a way, some people want to just be independent, especially now women. They want to be independent, but now you find that in one way or another, some committed relationships may prevent them from being committed. Independent. So you find that also acts as a reason as to why women or men, that is the Gen Zs or millennials, don't want to commit to relationships.
Yeah, again, marriages and relationships comes with a lot of boundaries and a lot of principles. So maybe if you are used to your personal life, it becomes difficult for you to adjust. Yeah, maybe if you're used to coming in the house late, you go for parties on weekend, and maybe you go for church choir on different days. Then you meet a guy, it becomes difficult for you to start explaining to them. I mean, all of us get tired explaining ourselves, and sometimes people choose not to understand what you're saying. So rather than living your whole life explaining what you want to do, where you will be, you just decide to maybe buy time and be in a casual relationship. Yeah.
Okay. Then there's the aspect of redefinition of timelines. you'll find that back in the days, a woman, for example, get married at as early as 15 years, or a man, let's say 17, yeah, around there. So you'll find that right now things have changed in the sense that you'll find that most men prefer to get married in their 30s, so which is like mathematically speaking, like around 13 years compared to what they used to do like back then. Women is like 10 years. Almost women prefer getting married at least at the age of 24 years, 25, you know. Yeah, so change in timeline is also another reason that is making people not to choose to commit early enough. Yeah, so they prefer to do it in most people prefer to do it in their 30s. Yeah. You talked about something the other time that is very interesting about the issue of settling down with somebody. You said yeah, this one because of a kid, and you told me you asked about teenagers something. Let us start with settling down with somebody because of a kid. For such an instance, as a woman, you really need to sit back and critically think about things. For such a relationship, it's not necessarily commitment. You're settling down with this person because of the kid, but not because you want to be committed in that relationship. Yeah. So at the back of your mind, you should make that crystal clear to yourself. Yeah, and if possible, personally, I can advise if you have your finances as a woman, and the man has also has his finances, it's best if you just live separately. Yeah, I know most women resort to that because of financial constraint, because a child also is a responsibility, and you need to be good financially, yeah, for you to care for a child. So that aspect you had brought up when we were talking earlier. Then you had asked about on this age matter. You had asked. You told me about a 17-year-old girl and a 20-year-old boy settling. How did you rephrase the question?
It couldn't be the exact ones, but I can remember.
Rephrase the question,
maybe when a man, 20-year-old man, pregnant or 19-year-old.
Okay. Okay.
So they move together to settle, or should the girl just remain in their parents' houses or something? Again, I added, in most cases, you're forced to go to your boyfriend's place because of the dad. I think mothers will be okay staying to their house, but now the problem is the dad. Once they notice you're
No, it's never the dad. Also the moms have had some.
No.
For me, I've had, so I've seen it. So it's never men all the time. Okay, just continue your question.
I think it's just because men are strict, and maybe the time you were at school, it was your dad who's paying the school fees.
Okay,
so we tend
finish
to
your question.
assume like the dad would be mad than the mom. So I was asking, is it okay for a 17-year-old girl to move in with a 20-year-old boy? And do you think the relationship or the marriage will last?
Okay.
Compared to the other one of maybe 28 and 32 years old.
So, first of all, let me just correct something. Personally, I've seen, let's say for an instance, a campus going girl, for example, a year one girl, she's probably 17 or 18 in most cases. I saw a scenario whereby the mother told the girl, just pack your things, go and live with that man. So it's never the man all the time. So for me, I've seen whereby it was the mother who initiated that call. So
you explain, I could say it's because of the pressure of the society.
No.
Her friends will be like, your kid got pregnant when
Okay, let us not try to get into the reasons as to why, because we don't know the actual story. What I know is the mother told the daughter to go away.
But we both know it's because the society is judgmental.
No, we don't know the reason, so we can't say that.
That's the reason.
I don't know. I never talked to the mother, but I was just told the story.
Okay.
So if I try to react for such a scenario, they are getting together because of the pregnancy, not because they've been intentional about staying together, that they want to commit to the relationship. So it's the pregnancy that is bringing them together. So the idea of the pregnancy bringing them together does not guarantee that the relationship will work, because for a relationship to work, there's the aspect of intentionality. And if so, intentionality whereby you both agree that we are in this thing and we are putting our efforts to ensure that it works. And to add on that, I'll say also a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old may not know so much about marriage, so there is high probability that it may not work, because for people to coexist, these are people who have been brought up differently. There are things like communication that they need to be good at. They need to know about compromise. That despite the fact that you believe things should be done this way, and the other person believes that they should be done the other way, you both have to adjust so that you meet at one point. So then there's also another aspect. Most people get into marriage or serious relationships. For example, let me say a woman will get into marriage because she needs a man. A man will get into marriage because she needs a woman. But here comes the big cue. To the woman, are you getting married because you need a husband? To the woman, you need a man, or you're ready to be a wife? And to the husband or to the man, are you getting married because you need a woman, or you're ready to be a husband? Yeah, to start with. So that also plays a big role. Then also, generally, in the general spectrum of things, there's a difference between parenting and marriage. Those are two different things. Yeah. So for such an instance, it's parenting that is bringing them together, but not marriage or a serious relationship.
So you're trying to suggest a person who is ready to become a husband and a person who is ready to become a wife, when they meet, it will work.
Yeah, it will work.
Okay.
Yeah, because it is intentional. They need. We have to work on this. They are both open-minded, willing to adjust to each other so that things can work. Because it's never a walk in the park.
What about for the early pregnancy? Should you stay at your parents' place because you're still 17 or 19?
Yeah, if the parents allow, it's better. Because also, when, let's say for example, the girl is at home, the mother can also instill some values on how to be a good mother based on her experience. And that's why most firstborns have problems also with their parents, because their parents are experiencing parenting for the first time, so they know nothing about parenting. So if this girl is at home, then you'll find that at least the mother can say, hey, you have to do this at this point in time, you have to check this, you have to take your child for clinic, you have to do this, you have to do this and that. It plays a big role.
Moving to your mom's house because you're pregnant, it's okay because this will make them be committed. Yeah, take responsibility. When you stay at your parents' place, they might neglect the responsibility.
No, we have men who take charge. It just depends on the man. So we have men who take charge. It just depends on the man. Also, don't expect a 20-year-old to be financially independent.
I don't mean that.
Yeah,
some things you're supposed to be there for me.
No, it's never automatic. A 20-year-old knows nothing about life. He's still either in high school or college or university. So don't over expect it. Don't give him a very tall order. So matters finances, he's not working.
Don't get pregnant.
The best thing to do is not getting pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah, don't give the man a tall order. It's an uphill task for him because he's still 20. He knows nothing about money. Yeah.
Maybe 14.
In fact, he cannot get a job because he's not even done with his course.
Doesn't have ID.
A 20-year-old can have an ID, but still, he can only do the manual jobs.
It depends on the country.
Yeah, but generally, let us not expect so much from a 20-year-old.
Yeah, maybe we could say if you're a teen of 17 or teen of 20, 21, you just try to be in a relationship. I mean, it's okay to be in a relationship. It's okay to learn as early as now, as early as 17. But at some point when you can abstain. Could we talk of abstinence or maybe
yes. The point is, use protection. The young people never abstain. They have to explore. So we draw the line. Where we draw the line is using protection to prevent the pregnancy. Yeah. So another reason as to why millennials and Gen Z don't want to commit is because of casual relationships, the casual culture, whereby we have things like hookups, we have things like friends with benefits, we have the bestie thing, Yeah, so you find that all these, if you look at the way they're set up, it's something that is not serious, Yeah, it's something that's just there for fun and for people to satisfy, let's say, their sexual needs. Yeah, so that they prefer that to committing. Yeah. Then also they also prefer that because we have also issues of heartbreak. Most of them prefer the casual culture because they fear heartbreaks. And one thing I say is that most of the young people today start dating way early, like 15, 16, So they engage in relationships. Then you find that at the end of the day, they know nothing about relationship. A 15-year-old knows nothing about relationship, knows nothing about compromise, communication, and so on. So you'll find that maybe one of them is serious. Maybe a seen party. Maybe at home he has been taught this and that. He sees maybe the father is faithful, the mother is faithful. So one is serious, but the other one is there for fun, to explore. Yeah. So you find that once the other, since the other another person, they start feeling like men are trash, for example, or women are players or god diggers and stuff. So you find that as they grow up, they get to lose hope very early. Yeah, so they opt to go for casual relationships because of such reasons.
Maybe add something. There is also the fear of failure, whereby you growing up, of course, you knew what we are expecting from you, and being a man, you also know what your girlfriend or your wife expects from you. So you live in the fear of what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't give the best? What if I don't fulfill my girlfriend's or my wife's expectation? So this would make some people to back off. I mean, you can never spend your life thinking about to satisfy people, and deep down you can never be sure whether people are working for you or they always think about you. But it reaches a point where it becomes a compulsory thing to do in a relationship or marriage, because having a wife, your wife will expect you to take maybe 100% responsibility in the house, and maybe for your financial status, it couldn't reach there. So you find some people in relationships or in marriages, they tend to just let it slide and maintain the casual relationship for as long as they could. Yeah.
Okay, so there's also an issue to deal with instant gratification, which is which contrasts with the reality of life. You know, most people nowadays are influenced by social media, especially Instagram. They say they see couples living nicely, having wealth and so on. So they believe that also once they get into some committed relationships and so on, they believe life would be so nice, not knowing that things take time. They have to be patient. So they believe that things will just work out instantly, yeah, which is contrary to the reality of life. So at the end of the day, they want to take things so fast, which at the end of the day makes things not to work. So that will now make them, not want to be in committed relationships. Like for example, like nowadays, for example, women, uh, most of them will say, I can't date a man, let's say, who earns below this amount of money, not knowing that in career we have different stages and different levels. So such men will get to those salary levels, let's say in their 50s. But at the back of this woman or girl's mind is like, count maybe 27-year-old guy who is making, let's say, 500,000, or who is making $5,000, you see. So which is not sometimes realistic. Things take time for somebody to reach such levels. Then it takes time. So most people are not willing to trust the process and be patient enough for them to get to such levels. Also, so that makes it hard for them to be in committed relationships. Also, there's also an idea of high standards in conjunction with that, um, whereby people have set the bar so high. Yeah, and on this case, especially women. For men, nothing has changed so much. Especially women. For women, there's a slight change. How have men changed?
Just continue. I'll talk about it.
Yeah, so they've set the standard so high. I need a man who is driving. And realistically speaking, if we get to the facts, of let's say 75% of men, most of them are not owning vehicles and mansions and so on. So, unlike so you find at the end of the day, most women are fighting for a large pool of women is fighting for a small percentage of men. So you find at the end of the day, they have good guys at their disposal, but they're still not committing. They're still waiting for that very wealthy guy who will come from nowhere, because it is not that easy. Sometimes people have to be realistic. Yeah, you have to say something.
Yeah, maybe before I say it, you talked about something like
Standard,
as a wife, you have to be
the standard
rich.
of women has changed.
No, like as a wife, you have to be rich.
Rich.
Rich in. I don't remember it well. Your wifely duties or responsibilities.
Yeah. You have to be rich.
Something like that.
What I said at that time, I said, yeah. In fact, thank you for reminding me. I said, as men, it's high time men unplug from the matrix. It's high time men to marry, to marry across the chain, in the sense that they don't marry downwards. Marry a woman who is the same value as you. Yeah, you'll find a CEO literally picking any, for example, a CEO. I'm not saying CEOs do that. You can find a CEO literally picking any kind of woman just because she's a woman. So you find at the end of the day, they may not align in terms of things like thinking and reasoning and many other things. As I was saying, as a man, look for a woman who's also wealthy like you, in the sense that she must not necessarily be wealthy financially, but wealthy in terms of how she has worked on herself, wealthy in terms of being very knowledgeable about how she's supposed to execute her duties as a woman. Yeah, it must not necessarily be finances. Yeah. So I don't know, have I answered your question? Have I cleared the air and clarified the?
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I also want to tell the women and the girls and the wives, these men are humans as well. So you don't have to set your standards very high for them. I mean, put yourself in their shoe. This is the person who is providing for you and doing 80% of the house responsibility. And again, you're expecting them to go an extra mile. This is a person who has family and maybe friends. I mean, just it's okay to have standards, but at least don't set the bar so high for them. Yeah, and also comparing your marriages or your relationships with what you saw on social media or what we are always seeing every day, what the celebrities are always posting, it will never keep the marriages or relationship. Just as I always say, there is always something behind the cameras. Everyone is having a tough time. Everyone is having a rough time. I mean, we can never post our darknesses. So if your man is trying, give them time, will reach where other people reach. But of course, they had to start from a scratch and maintain your man and grow with him. Yeah, a good man will like and choose a woman who grew with him. Yeah.
Also, there's an aspect to deal with self-awareness. Nowadays, people don't settle just for anything. They want to be committed to what they feel like is their work. So there's the aspect of self-awareness, women getting highly self-aware, men getting highly self-aware. And that's why men nowadays ask questions like, what do you bring to the table? Because a man knows his worth. So it's like, I also need to get a woman who knows her worth, who knows what she can offer. And one day we'll talk about this topic in details. Today we'll not talk about, but we'll have an episode to talk about this very soon. So ensure you subscribe and share and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified once we get our hands dirty and talk about this aspect. Yeah, then there's also an issue to deal with.
Maybe before you go to the next one, just on self-awareness. I think this will take an individual. It's you as an individual to work on that, to know what you want first. Because a man asking you what you bring to the table, what if you don't know the kind of the table? So it's you again to call yourself for a meeting, ask yourself questions, ask yourself what you want, ask yourself the kind of a relationship that you want with your friends, with your husband, with your in-laws, your relationship and the circle as a whole, for you at least to know where you are. Maybe just as I mentioned before, we'll also talk about it. As Jess said, we will talk about self-awareness. I think that conversation.
Yeah. And it's heavy. But there's something you mentioned. I wanted to say something. Why am I forgetting? Yeah. You said that as a man, he needs to know what the woman should bring to the table, right?
A woman
has to know. Is it the man or the woman?
This question comes from men, asking women
What
to bring on the table. So I was telling the women, you must know first the kind of the table. You must know which table are they talking about and what's the value of the table for you to know what you bring on the table.
Okay.
So it's all about the self-awareness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that in details very soon. So one day, you also have the aspect of cultural shift, whereby back in the days, love was based on survival. which is not what we see today, because it was a survival choice. It was survival, and it was more feeling. But right now, there's the aspect of choice coming in, by millennials and Gen Zs are putting it to be a choice. To them, it's no longer about a feeling. Actually, in this day and age, love is more of a choice than a feeling.
Do you ask me if love is a choice?
Yeah, is it a choice or a feeling?
A choice.
A choice.
Yeah.
Why do you say a choice?
Because, of course, as human beings, we have our what can I say? I've forgotten the name. You're not perfect.
Our shortcomings.
Yeah, we have our own shortcomings. So, accepting you the way you are, accepting you with all your darknesses, that means that choosing to love you like that. So this could definitely be said or concluded that love is a choice. I could tell myself I could maybe have chosen the other one over you, but I'm doing this because I just want to try this with you. So that means I'm choosing to try. Yeah. Okay. So love is a choice. Okay. You start feeling on your way.
Okay. Yeah. So but I would say also the millennials are trying to make an hybrid of that, whereby to them it is 60% choice and 40% feeling. Yeah. So that's what is happening. Then there's also issues to deal with mental health. You'll find that most people nowadays take time to work on their mental health. In this day and age, therapy, is basic need, just like food, shelter, and clothing. So you find most people are taking time to work on themselves to ensure that they're in perfect shape before they decide to commit to serious relationships. So that is also one of the key issues that is making millennials and Gen Zs not to commit in relationships. I don't know. Do you have something to add before
maybe
I give my parting shot?
Are there free
unless maybe for once organized by NGOs and so on.
Okay. Growing up, knowing therapies are very expensive, but I think, just as I feel, at some point I usually feel like I need therapy.
Yeah, it's not expensive. What I can say, it's always good to try things, especially if you don't know. Like for example, it can be let's say in therapy. When you go for therapy sessions, they take 45 minutes to 1 hour. So you can get it as $25. That is 2,500 per hour, which is now the session. So this is good. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, share, comment.